All right, so it's late in the afternoon. Not even in the afternoon anymore. It's like late. It's like 1 or 2. I don't even know how late it is, but um, played some Apex, and I was rocking. I was doing pretty good actually in Apex. So you guys don't care. That's not even what this video is about, actually. Make sure you join our Discord, which will be down in the description box below. This is about a person, a YouTuber. Someone sent me a link to a YouTube video, and they asked me what thoughts would you, or what did they say? I'm going off the head here. It wasn't a lot. But I think they said, what advice would you give to this young girl? So I click on it, and I'm not going to give the full YouTuber's name because they got a bigger channel than what I got. Maybe they got a huge channel. But their first name is Mira. And this girl's 21 years old. She did this video about 11 months ago, 10 or 11 months ago. And it's titled, I Have No Friends. I'm 21 years old and I have no friends. So I clicked on, hold on, let me turn this light on, bro. There we go. So I clicked on the video and I watched it. And she was talking about how basically she was homeschooled. And she was like the second to the last kid. I think she has 3 or 4, I think there's 3 or 4 kids total. And so she felt like the first 2 kids got all of the attention. She got nothing really. She was homeschooled, so she never had a chance to actually make friends. She changed I think they moved. And so still homeschooled up until she was like in high school, I believe. She got into high school, and she was chosen by the students for something. I forget. You know how they do that. Most popular or most whatever. And I forget what she was selected as. But she basically said that she didn't have any friends. I mean, she was liked in school, but she didn't really have friends. And so she never went to college because she was too intimidated, because she felt like she didn't have the social skills to make it. So she just felt like that would have been too much to do. And the cost also feared, there's fear in that as well. Now, this is a beautiful girl, by the way. I saw her and I'm like, dang, she's really pretty, right? And typically a girl like that would not have any problem making friends and any problem finding some dude to date. And it wasn't just that video I looked at. I looked at other videos too, just quickly. And I'm like, yeah, she's really attractive. So what's the situation, right? So I finished up that first video, went back to it, finished it up just to hear everything that she had to say. And the biggest thing is what I get out of that whole video is what I suspected in some of the others. And the biggest thing is that she has major self-esteem issues. Now, I don't know. This is just my opinion. I don't know the girl. But it sounds like she has major self-esteem issues, and not necessarily based on her not thinking she's pretty or something like that. She might, but it's like she lacks the esteem, the self-esteem to realize that she has value. Does that make sense? So other people looking at her be like, I don't get it. Like, I don't see why you're struggling. But, excuse me. To her, she's just a regular chick that never had friends. And then she said she went to meetups. She met up with people. She had great conversations with this one girl who was really, really nice and really cool. And they vibed well, and it ended there. And then she went on a coffee date with a girl. She talked to her, and, it was really, really cool. Like, they talked for hours, and then that's kind of where it ended. Part of this is how society is today. It's very hard to make friends. I talk about how I have a very small circle of friends. Very, 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 very tiny. Very tiny. And I had much more friends back in the day. A lot of these were coworkers. I didn't have a lot of friends from school, to be honest with you. After I graduated, everybody kind of went their own way. You had some people that kept in touch with each other, but nobody never really kept in touch with me. I didn't keep in touch with them. We weren't really that close to begin with. Some of the people that I was friends with in high school, we just kind of went separate ways. I mean, that was just it. We just evolved and grew differently. It was just different. It was just different. I went to college, and so a lot of them didn't. So during that time, they had 4 years of doing their own thing, and I was in college. In college, I met some people, but I wasn't really friends with them. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't really friends with them. And a lot of the people that were in high school that went to the same college, they lasted like a semester or two, and then that was it. Others may have kind of were there, or they moved on to other schools, but I just didn't really keep in touch with them, and they didn't keep in touch with me. And the next time, but that was cool because at the time I was working and going to school. So I met people at work that were about the same age. I was a little bit older, but I was about 3 years older. And we still hung out. So I had friends that I worked with. I had like a few. And that lasted for a while, up until my first marriage, right? So I was cool. And then I got married. And so then I had friends in between there. I got divorced. I had friends after that, again through work. And so it was cool. Then they kind of fell off, right? At that point in time, through my days of gallivanting, I just met up with a bunch of women. So I had friends, I had a friend that was really cool, who was a coworker. I had another guy that was really, really cool. But most of my energy and time was just out here. So there was that period. Then I got rid of all of that, and I still kept in touch, obviously, with the friends that I worked with at this job. And, they were solid. So then I ended up meeting Noelle and had all those friends, left Indiana, went to Albuquerque, met new friends, got laid off, lost touch with those friends. And ever since then, it's just been nothing really, right? Now, sorry. The reason why I say that is because I've noticed that people nowadays don't really keep in touch like that. You see what I'm saying? Noelle and I have this conversation all the time. I think people are bad at relationships, period, generally. Nowadays, people are just bad at relationships. And then when you're trying to be friends with someone, if they haven't been friends with you since the days of playing in the sandbox, it's almost impossible, right? It's almost impossible. There were times when I was single and people were either in a relationship or married, and it just didn't work out because the person, their girlfriend or wife, didn't want them hanging out with the single guy. Then there was times when I was in a relationship with someone and the female didn't want the guy to hang out, guys and guys hanging out. They wanted couple and couple to hang out. You see what I'm saying? So it's been that kind of weird setup. And then, me and the dude are cool, we vibe, but maybe the two women don't really vibe well. So then that impacts your situation because you're never going to be able to hang out one-on-one with him because she wants to hang out as a group. It's just chaotic. It's really chaotic. I would say that this girl does make a lot of sense and that, yeah, it's very, very hard to make friends. But I also think that she is dealing with things from just her upbringing too. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of that is just, like I said, self-esteem. Like, she didn't go to college because she didn't think that she could really do it. And she even talks about in the video, she has a lot of anxiety. But I think that doesn't help. You know, she talks about how she didn't keep in touch with people. Like the one girl, she said that she met at the meetup was really, really cool. She thought the girl was too cool for her. And so she never initiated contact with her after that because she felt like that girl was too cool for her, so she didn't put in the effort. And so she didn't. And my thing would be you never know. Keep in contact because it could be that that person was waiting on you to contact them. Maybe they felt like you weren't really that interested in being a friend with them. You see what I'm saying? It could, and I don't know this chick. Maybe you're socially awkward, or maybe she felt like you were socially awkward. And she was just like, I don't know, right? I would never assume because it could be that person's waiting for you to pick up the phone. But it making friends and keeping friends is difficult. But I will say this: sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a good thing because back whenever I had friends, there was always usually an issue. And I'm talking like a lot of friends. There's usually an issue. There was a guy that I had to stop being friends with because when he had a little bit too much to drink, he was a problem. You know, all of the other dudes would be totally fine. You know, we would drink, have fun, and all of that. But he was the one that wanted to just start stuff. And he was never going to be the one that actually got into a fight and do something about it. He would start something, and then the cleanup crew would have to be there to back him up. You see what I'm saying? So he became a major liability. So people just didn't want to hang out with him. I had friends where, you know, they wanted to leave and you weren't ready to leave. And it's just a bunch of chaos, right? So a lot of times there became a point in time where I'm like, I'd rather go out and just hang out. Sometimes I would go to a sports bar just to watch sports by myself, get a beer, get my food, sit there, watch something. You'll run into people that are there and they'll just start talking and having conversations with you. And so it's kind of cool. But never in my thoughts will those people be friends because typically people are just, it's kind of like you're there, so they're talking. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't know of anyone that has met someone at a bar and became friends with. Maybe that exists, but I've never seen it. That kind of happened to me once, but yeah, it's just a rare thing. With the meetups, those are kind of tricky. When I first was moved to Indianapolis, I tried to do the meetup thing. And those are kind of tricky because I still feel like it's kind of, it can be a meetup that talks about new in town, but yet it's still a hookup. You know what I mean? Like the people, none of those meetup groups seem like they really were that authentic because they'll say that, hey, we're meeting up to, you know, explore the city or we're meeting up to play chess. But still, you had dudes and chicks trying to hook up. Like, you might as well just call it like, you know, 20s and 30s dating or whatever. But so it was really, really difficult. And so I get it. Those are very, very difficult. In terms of work, a lot of times I try to stay clear of work friends or people who I work with and becomes friends with because sometimes that can be a problem. You see what I'm saying? That can be a problem. I had a lot of work friends back in the day, don't get me wrong, but it can be a bit of an issue. I would say to this girl to definitely get a mentor. Definitely get a mentor. I wouldn't say go and get counseling, but I would say definitely get a mentor. Get someone who can be, that can give you some advice, life advice. That would be the first thing. Second thing I would do would be to volunteer your time. Boys and Girls Club, Big Brother, Big Sister, stuff like that. I would volunteer my time because it's all about self-discovery. And I think that same thing with getting a mentor. It's about self-discovery. It's kind of like you start to find yourself. And it seems like just listening to this girl, she hasn't really found herself. So I think it's going to be difficult for you to have friendships if you don't really know who you are. And so I think that's one of the big things. Building self-esteem is going to be another. So I think that by having an outlet, because she's saying she has no support system, she doesn't keep in contact with her family, there's a lot there. So, and she says she has literally no one. So I would say to have something where you're accountable, and people were writing in the comments, you had some thirsty dudes saying, I'll be your friend. You have other people saying that that's kind of common nowadays. That's why people have a lot of dogs and cats. That's true. Because it's just hard. It's very, very hard. I think that society now is more self-centered. People are more concerned about getting ahead as opposed to helping thy neighbor. You know what I mean? Like, how many people can say they know their neighbors? Very few. People want to kind of just wall themselves off. And so nowadays, people really don't, it's not like it used to be. When I was growing up on my street, everybody knew everybody. You know, I could hang out with the neighbors and be cool. The neighbor, one of the, Miss Eleanor, I can say who she is because she's long passed away. But she would always call us over to her house and give us candy. You know what I mean? My mom would trust her because she was a cool old lady. You know, Mr. Robert, he's long past too. He was an old man back when I was like 5, 6. I mean, he was in his 80s at that point. He would always give me. So my sister is only, I have a kind of a foster sister, and she's only like 4 years older than me. And he would give me like a dime and maybe 2 pennies and would give her a whole solid quarter. Maybe he'd give her like 2 quarters. And I'm like, but bruh, like, I'm thinking this ain't much. But he was a sweet old man. He was a really cool old man, and he was just nice. He was really, really cool. And so my mom would always stop by, see how he was doing and everything. We'd always stay in the car. He'd come out. He was always whittling. He was, you know, carving wood and stuff. He would call it whittling. But yeah, I mean, we knew everybody kind of within our own block and the block outside of that. Like, everybody talked. Nowadays, that doesn't happen. I can't even tell you the name of 2 of my neighbors. And so society, now there are some people who will say, well, I know my neighbors. That's great. Does some of this fall on me and Noelle to do that? Yeah, it does. But I can't lie. I do know 2 neighbors. I know 2 houses here, for sure. There are people that I'm friendly with, obviously. But it's not like it was back when I was growing up. So I can imagine nowadays you're 21 years old, you hadn't had a whole lot of experience at a young age trying to socialize and understand that. And now you're a bit socially awkward because you don't have a lot of experience with it. I get it. But I would say volunteer your time. So my thoughts is that, yeah, I mean, that goes to show you that just because someone's really pretty and attractive, you don't know their backstory. And a lot of times people that are that attractive and that pretty may not feel that they are at all. They may have very low self-esteem, and people are like, I don't get it. It's because you don't know their history, their life story. You see what I'm saying? There were plenty of people that I dated back in the day when I was gallivanting that, and it's not bragging, they were actually models. Yes, this face at one point in time didn't look like this. I got a model chick or 2, right? But they had a lot of things that they were dealing with too. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of things. So I would say for her or somebody that's dealing with that, and I don't know, the person that sent me this, maybe they have a similar situation, but I would say volunteer your time. That's the biggest thing you can do. I would also say get your passport. Now is not a good time to travel, but whenever hopefully things will get better, travel overseas, travel the world, because it gives you a chance to be awkward, and it's okay. You don't know the language? That's okay. You see what I'm saying? It gives you a chance to get out there and kind of see the world. I think that's extremely important. Volunteer your time. Be selfless. Help a homeless food bank or something. You know, dish out meals. Those are things where you can start to kind of see how other people are, how other people live, and how blessed you possibly could be. So I would say do those things. And then, of course, over time, you will build and gain some friends. You know what I mean? You will gain some friends. A lot of times people are looking for a friend too, and if you don't make it known, then you never will know. So never just assume that someone's too cool and that they can't be friends. One of the things that I will say is that I have a lot of people that are acquaintances, people that I know about. Maybe I've never met them, but I consider them acquaintances. You know what I mean? Like I know of you. I know some things about you, but we're not yet friends. We don't really know each other like that yet. But it could be a situation where one day where they can become friends. I don't know. And maybe this chick is the same way. Maybe she has a lot of people that are acquaintances and they're not quite friends. It seems like she went through that in high school. But the big key, I think, is just self-esteem. In her case, self-esteem. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope I kind of answered your question or gave you what you were looking for, whoever sent that to me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I will see you. Take care.